One of the perks of this job is I'm snowballed with suggestions of both great and terrible watches to review. In fact, some of you just can't resist, can you? As is the case with our boy Peak Rider here. He left a comment about a classic looking Bulova which he'd snagged from UK retailer Argos for a mere £30. A Bulova for £30? I checked the listing and sure enough, he wasn't lying. This was the cheapest new Bulova I'd ever seen, and this model was indeed retailing for far less than on other sites. You can probably guess what happened next. Unfortunately, these sold out rather quickly at that price. I could have collected mine for free, but us YouTubers don't go outside, so it was technically £34 with delivery. The real question is it any good? Did I get a great deal, or is this just a piece of junk that's cashing in on the Bulova name? Well, let's take a closer look. For such a low price, the packaging was pretty special. A very attractive and protective gift box with a secret slot at the base for the paperwork. I anticipated something much more basic, so this was an early surprise. True to form, for the low price I paid, I thought the watch itself would be basic, and indeed that is the case. This 96B276 has a classic design resembling somewhat of a field watch aesthetic with an array of larger outer Arabics and an internal ring of 24-hour numbers. All of these, along with the logo, are printed directly onto the dial, being punched through from the rear to raise them up a bit. This is potentially the first time sword hands have made an appearance on this channel, with the chunky pair widening substantially and then rapidly tapering off towards the tip. Neither these nor the markers feature any sort of luminescent filling, so low light visibility could be an issue with this particular watch. While rather basic and flat, the dial itself is well proportioned and in typical conditions is very legible thanks to the high contrast against the black backdrop. Of course, for £30, this one uses a quartz movement, which is evident from the ticking second hand. Specifically, this is some type of basic Miyota quartz movement. This is the same type that's often labelled as being luxury by some watch brands.
We bring a line of Italian luxury watches directly to you.
In reality, it's accurate but basic, making it suitable for a watch just like this one. For once, this one appears relatively consistent, with the second hand generally hitting on or close to the markers. It could do with being a little longer, as like the minute hand, it doesn't quite extend to the chapter ring. On the right, there's also a small date window that integrates nicely with the monochrome colour scheme present throughout. I was pleased to discover that this was indeed a full stainless steel case. While it's nice and thin at a mere 8.9mm, the 42mm diameter means it's too big for my skinny wrist, despite the sub 50mm lug-to-lug length. I think this would fit the average wrist better than the width measurement would initially suggest, as it certainly feels slightly smaller than 42mm, it feels more like about a 41mm. Finishing is more comparable to an £80 to £100 watch, so it's no surprise that this is retailing for more than £30 elsewhere. While it's not outstanding, you certainly won't find many watches that are this neatly cut in the £30 range. It features a predominantly glossy finish, including the fixed bezel, with the top of the lugs exhibiting a contrasting brushed look instead. While small, the crown is very responsive and easy to use, featuring a lightly lasered Bulova logo on as well. Water resistance is certainly not the backbone of this piece, with the snapback rear only helping to secure the watch to a measly 3-bar splash resistance. Don't go washing the dishes or swimming with this, or you'll be waving goodbye to your budget Bulova. You'll notice I've left the central sticker on for this video, as I thought it was quite humorous. Japan movement, China banned. That's almost all the information you need right there in 4 words. Yeah, while Bulova may be an American brand, like many of their models, I'd guess the majority of this one is predominantly constructed and assembled in the Far East. They've been owned by Citizen since 2008, so whether their production coincides with their parent brand at all, it's unclear. The Chinese have done a very good job with the strap though. While it may lack the convenient quick release system, it's unlikely you'll be wanting to swap it out, as it's among the best I've seen on affordable watches. After an initial breaking in period, it becomes rather supple and has some nice natural graining that feels satisfying to touch. This is very comfortable on wrist, and even comes with a steel buckle emblazoned with the Bulova logo. Honestly, you could probably sell this by itself for 2/3 of the price I paid for the whole watch, and it looks good too, so I've got zero complaints on that front. My impression is that for the right price, this could make a great gift watch more than anything else. The design is quite safe but attractive, and the construction is solid enough to not let you down. Unless you're an avid swimmer perhaps. For the clearance price I paid, I think it's a very fair deal for this basic watch. That being said, some sites are cashing in on the Bulova name and charging obscene prices northward of £150 for this one. I can't see a world outside of the Matrix where this watch is worth that figure.
What the hell?
Amazon has this currently listed for a more reasonable £75, though personally, I wouldn't consider this that tempting unless it was below 60. It's not a premium Bulova model by any stretch, but at least it was an interesting and very affordable first look at this brand. Give me your thoughts below. If you enjoyed, consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.